Brewers win into an off day. Logan Henderson pitches well. Everybody is happy. And all is good with the Milwaukee Brewers for now. We'll get to all that coming up next. Lots to get to on this edition of Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Logan Henderson definitely looked the part on Wednesday. Pitching has never been the problem, as we know, but Henderson was called up, and we were wondering why he was sent down anyway, but he looked great again and might be here to stay. Good to have you along. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And me, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin, in case you're tuning in for first time. But the Milwaukee Brewers, of course, my favorite team and proud host of Locked On Brewers. Yeah, the Brewers, I didn't know what I could take another game on Wednesday that they were not going to get any offense going. And it looked like that for a while, that things were not moving in the right direction. They were stuck in quicksand, cement, mud, whatever. It looked like it was going to be another one of those type of games. And then shazam, everything busted loose for the Brewers. And a 9-5 win in Cleveland, closing the record of 21-23 into an off day. But as much as the offense was the story, and I say the offense was the story, it's Logan Henderson. Because they score so many runs, Logan Henderson, someone gets overshadowed in all this, but he shouldn't. And 5 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, high strikeout total in his second major league start. You couple this, what he did in his last outing a few Sundays ago against Oakland, and it looks like he's here to stay. And the Brewers really don't have any choice at this point because guys are dropping off this roster to the injury list very quickly. The latest is Jose Quintana. But Logan Henderson is the guy right now. And, we got multiple guys on the injury list. We're going to get to that in just a second. But 2 starts, all is good with the Milwaukee Brewers pitching, I think, right now. Despite all these guys on the injured list. I mean, look at this. Ashby, Savale, Cortez, Gasser, Hall, Woodruff. I mean, the list is unbelievable. It's amazing that with all these guys on the injured list, and all these guys could have started, I mean, Ashby was thought to maybe be in the rotation. Savale certainly was. Cortez obviously was. Gasser, well, he was hurt last year, and he's going through the Tommy John thing. Hall was a candidate to start, but probably a bullpen guy, and Woodruff, obviously. Yet, despite of all this, there's a couple of guys like Chad Patrick who've saved them. And, even Tobias hasn't pitched all that. I don't think he's pitched all that bad. Compared to what he did last year, maybe not as well as he did last year. But all the pitching that they've lost, and still they're 21-23, namely because the hitting hasn't been there. But Logan Henderson, just reading into Murphy what he said today, it sounds like, and it's not his call, obviously it's the front office, but Henderson is probably going to here to stay. I mean, what you have no choice right now. I mean, you called up Tobias Myers too. Probably didn't want to, for whatever reason, why he was sent down. Don't know why. And Logan Henderson, why he wasn't on this roster to begin with. I mean, the eye test looks pretty good, and his stuff looks great. Logan Henderson on this roster for the foreseeable future. And Tobias Myers back. We'll see, again, how he does. But pitching looks great in this team. It does. McGill walked the guy in the 9th inning, but, got another save. Well, he didn't get a save because it was a 9-5 game, non-save situation. And then we got Savale, who pitched 5 innings down in Nashville on Wednesday, and he looked terrific. No earned runs in his start. Savale on the mend. So we're getting some of these guys back, and we're going to have an abundance of pitching. But the offense is the question mark, as always. Now, Quintana, he said a couple of days ago when he missed the start, it's no big deal. I'll be able to pitch. We just pushed me back a couple of days. I'll be able to pitch on Saturday night against the Twins. Well, then it turns out right before the game on Wednesday with Quintana they said, now we're going to put Quintana on the 15-day injured list with shoulder impingement. That's great. Guy was pitching great, and now he's on the 15-day injured list. And this is what I always say about injuries. When a guy says, well, he's going to be okay, he might miss a start or whatever. And the next thing you know, the next day, I've seen this happen so many times, and then he's on the injured list. Blake Perkins was supposed to be back here in late April, and he's still on the injured list. So who knows with injuries? But Quintana is the latest. So with Quintana and Woodruff was supposed to skip pitches. Woodruff was supposed to pitch Saturday night. Now he's not going to, obviously. Quintana was going to take his spot. He's not going to. We'll see who pitches on Saturday. But Logan Henderson won't pitch on Saturday, but he's probably earned his stay with the Milwaukee Brewers. But all these guys, Ashby, Savali, Cortez, Gasser, Hall, and Woody, still the Brewers keeping this thing together, staying 4 games out of first place with a 9-5 win. And then there's my guy, Rhys Hoskins. I took a lot of guff in the offseason because Rhys didn't have a very good year last year, and he got off to a little slow start this year. And I know some of you all want Hoskins gone. And that's the first thing we do. Oh, we want Hoskins out of here. Well, Hoskins has been amazing. And it's not like he's hitting jacking home runs and batting .214. The guy had 4 hits on Wednesday. And, I mean, he's spraying the ball. He's pulling the ball. He's hitting gappers. He's doing things that we didn't expect that he hasn't done for most of his career. Because for the most part, he's been a guy who hits the 230s and hits his 30 home runs or so. But so far this year, he's been pretty good. Clutch base hits. He had the home run on Wednesday. He's batting .292. That's like 60, 70 points over what he should be batting. Like I said, he batted .214 last year. .292. Of all the, we talked about how bad this offense is. He's the one guy who's been impressive this year. And I don't want to hear, well, we could trade him at the trading deadline. If you're that guy who says, let's trade him at the trading deadline, check my Freddie Peralta podcast from a couple of nights ago. We're not trading. We're not even thinking that way. We're not thinking in terms of dealing guys and sellers. We haven't been down that road in years, and I'm not ready to go on that road right now. So Hoskins. And maybe Jake Bauers. I'm coming around to Jake Bauers a little bit. Jake Bauers is another guy. Had a couple of RBI base hits on Wednesday. Jake Bauers playing left field. He's batting .288, getting regular playing time now. So those are the 2 guys right there. Bauers, who the team didn't want in the offseason until he signed a minor league deal. And Hoskins, a guy they were hoping that he wouldn't take his $18 million option, $22 million with the signing bonus, with the roster bonus. He's the one guy that they were hoping wouldn't do it. And now both guys are really the only guys offensively. Well, you have Terang and Frelick too. And Frelick had a big home run on Wednesday. I get it. But those guys have come down a little bit as far as their production. But they're having pretty good years as well. But Hoskins has been consistent. While those other guys have gone through slumps, Hoskins, other than early in the season, he's been pretty consistent. And Bauers has been pretty good when he gets playing time. Now, they didn't expect to use him in the outfield, but they're using him obviously because of their outfield, all the injuries they're having in their outfield. And the Brewers also made a couple of moves in the last few days here, trying to, the old Brewer reclamation project, which we've gotten used to seeing with the Milwaukee Brewers over the years. We'll talk about that coming up here in a little bit. The Brewers signing 2 names, 2 names of guys who, well, maybe have seen better days, but the Brewers are hoping to catch that lightning in a bottle kind of thing. That's what the Brewers do. Get to all that coming up next. Chuck Freeman here, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Supply House, man. I told you there's guys in my neighborhood who Supply House is the way they go. I turned a guy down down the street on Supply House. He's been watching my podcast and he says, Chuck, what's a Supply House? And he's a guy who's up at 4:00 in the morning, just like a few other guys in my neighborhood. And they're out on the road 5-6 days a week, making this country turn. Plumbing, HVAC, electrical work. These guys are doing stuff in and around my neighborhoods, doing great work as houses are going up. Supply House, a reliable way to order products online, and this is where these guys go. Huge inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 of the top brands. You'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. You'll get the job done right. Hey, their customer service is second to none. You won't get a recording, and you won't get a million prompts either. You'll get on the line with the industry-leading service professionals, and they'll tell you exactly how they can help you out and point you in the right direction. As for the trade pros out there, like these guys in my neighborhood, they always look for that little extra edge, and their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks, a dedicated phone line, free shipping, discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals already taking advantage, like a couple of guys in my neighborhood, and now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today, supplyhouse.com /TM, supplyhouse.com/TM. Start ordering plumbing, HVAC, electrical supplies, just a few clicks. Use that promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And by the way, our podcast, you get it on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcast. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because you're great Brewers fans out there. We're on all those audio platforms. Just got to search Locked On Brewers. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button and an alert on there. They all have alerts. So when we drop the episode, you'll get alerted and you can pot us up and get us ready to go. And if you're on the audio platforms, hey, nothing wrong with getting us on YouTube, our growing YouTube page. We have thousands of people watch us on our YouTube page. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. Go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell that alerts you every time we drop an episode on Locked On Brewers. All right, Bobby Dalbec and Eddie Rosario. Two guys who've been around a little bit. Dalbec in 2020, we'll talk about him. He was supposed to be the first baseman of the future for the Red Sox. Well, lately it hasn't gone so well for Bobby Dalbec, and the Brewers are trying to see where he might be able to fit in with the team. There's so many injuries. There's guys who are struggling. Maybe the Brewers can find a way. They sign him to a minor league deal. Bobby Dalbec, put him down at Nashville. Hey, he was looking for a team. The Brewers are looking for some warm bodies. Bobby Dalbec. And the latest, Eddie Rosario. Eddie Rosario, who's already been with two teams already. The Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves. The Braves picked him up recently, and he's played a couple of games with the Braves. I think he played in one or two games with the Braves. Dodgers, he was activated by the Dodgers when Shohei went on the paternity list. And that was it there, and they DFA'd him. So Eddie Rosario, he's 33 at this point. Outfield depth, minor league deal. A guy who's trying to get back to the majors. He batted 175 last year with Washington and Atlanta. It was a terrible year in 2024. And limited amount of bats. But who knows? A guy who's got a history. Both of these guys do. And maybe they find their way on the major league roster. But you know how it is when a minor league deal, these guys sign a minor league deal. If somebody wants to sign up for a major league deal, the Brewers will lose that guy. So they could lose either one of these guys. But I'm just saying, the Brewers are at least, and this is what a team like the Brewers have to do, go out and find themselves cast-offs from other teams. Guys who maybe aren't figuring it out from what, I mean, Quintana, obviously nobody wanted Quintana, and the Brewers got him for $5 million, and he's worked out. Now he's on the injured list. But these two guys right here, minor league deal, Brewers got him on the cheap. Yeah, we'll see Eddie Rosario on this team. Bobby Dahlbeck, maybe too. That's coming. And the Brewers, with the injuries and guys struggling on this team, Garrett Mitchell and you name it. I mean, there's been so many injuries on this team and guys not producing. They bring one of these guys up and they produce. They might stick. But for now, it's all good with the Brewers offense. I said that when they had that team meeting on Tuesday night, I said, don't read too much into those team meetings, because what usually happens after the team meetings, you might get a quick bumper crop and a team explodes offensively. And sure enough, that's what happens. Wednesday, they came back, scored 9 runs. And it's like, wow, that team meeting really helped, didn't it, boys? No. They've had a couple of those team meetings already. So, but Sal Frelick, when he crashed a home run on Wednesday, you see what he did? A little emotional. Got in the dugout, slammed his helmet. Frelick trying to be a leader on this team. That it was kind of impromptu on his part. But yeah, scored 9 runs into the off day. And at least this gives the Brewers little of the feel goods going into the off day. They flew back home off this road trip. They're back home in Milwaukee. They got the off day Thursday, recharge, and you got the homestand coming up with Minnesota for 3, and then Baltimore Monday through Wednesday of next week. And Minnesota, man, and the Twins are playing hot. We're going to talk about them coming up next. But 21-23, we'll take a look at the standings as well when we come back after this timeout. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. All right. The Brewers right now, with the Cubs getting beat by Miami, and Miami could have got them the night before either. They scored 3 of the 9th, the Cubs did, to beat Miami on Tuesday, but Miami got them 3-1 on Wednesday. So right now, Brewers 4 games out, 21-23. And you think about when they started 3 weeks ago, when the Cubs were in town, the Brewers were 3 games behind the Cubs. And here they are. They're 4 games out. They only lost 1 game in the standings. So as brutal and as putrid as things have gone with this team and how awful they looked on offense, that was a big win on Wednesday. Coming back and getting within 2 games of the 500 mark and 4 games out. St. Louis is 24-20. They're a game in back of the Cubs. Cincinnati is 20-24. They're 5 behind right now. But the Cubs, again, they're not pulling away from anybody just yet. And the Brewers hanging in there in 3rd place at 4 games out. So good for them. The Minnesota Twins are coming in next. Minnesota Twins. Now, a couple of weeks ago when the Twins were coming to town, it was like, Twins are struggling. They're 13-20, but they have won 10 in a row. They're the first team in the majors to win 10 in a row this year. 10 in a row. How about that? And sounds like, just reading some of the articles, they're having fun. They had a come from behind win in a doubleheader against Baltimore. In fact, the Twins in Baltimore got to play one more game on Thursday when the Brewers had the day off. Twins in Baltimore playing one more game before the Twins hit here. So hopefully the Twins keep on winning. They run that winning streak to 11 in a row, and then Milwaukee will kind of cool them off hopefully this weekend. But the Twins, I kind of like the fact that a team that wasn't expected to do much this year, the Minnesota Twins, are on a roll right now because they're overachieving. The Twins aren't this good. So hopefully the Twins win again on Thursday, 11 in a row. They're like 5 out in the division. They were just buried there for a while, but they're back into things here with this 10-game winning streak. But I always feel like with those bad baseball teams, they eventually regress to the mean a little bit. I mean, the Twins, if they win, ain't coming in here and extending that winning streak to 14 in a row, which means they'd have to beat the Brewers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's not happening. That's not happening at all. But they're having some tough at-bats. They came come from behind 8-6 win over Baltimore on I believe in the second game of that doubleheader on Wednesday. So that was pretty impressive. So Milwaukee and Minnesota, and then the Brewers got to go to Minnesota. The border battle they call it. They're not really the rivals. The Twins never have been. Maybe if you're living in northwestern Wisconsin, like if you're in Eau Claire and La Crosse, you got a lot of Twins fans up there. But down here in Milwaukee, we're closer to Chicago than we are Minneapolis. Minneapolis is a 5-hour drive. Chicago, an hour and a half. So not a big deal. So I've never really looked at the Twins as any sort of rivalry. But it's a nice series that the Brewers will play against these guys every year. If you think about it, they should probably play a series against the White Sox every year because, home and home with the White Sox, because the White Sox were a long-time rival. But they got the Twins coming up, and we'll see. Of course, you play every team in baseball, at least a 3-game series. That's going to do it for the show. And we'll see how the Twins do on Thursday. Hunter Baumgart from 97.3 The Game. He's going to join me coming up on Friday's podcast. We'll drop that one Friday Friday early morning, late night Thursday, early morning Friday. Hunter Baumgart does a great job, producer there, and he's their baseball insider, covers all the Milwaukee Brewers games. He's a friend of the show, friend of mine as well. So good old HBO join us on the show coming up on Friday's podcast. Until then, that's going to do it, guys. Enjoy the win. Enjoy the off day. I hate off days because I look forward to the Brewers playing every day. Even when they're struggling, they're still our favorite team. Once again, guys, get our podcast on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the major downloads out there. Wherever you download your podcast, go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode on Locked On Brewers. Going to do it for the show today. And have yourself a great Thursday, everybody.